Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Game Day View is back with picks for a super triple header starting in Pittsburgh where the Steelers host the Browns. Wait, didn't we just do this a week ago? Well, at least nothing has changed with either team since then. Down in New Orleans, the Saints host the Bears. These teams have more in common than you may think. Good defenses, good run games, and quarterbacks who are both, right-handed? But we start in Tennessee where the Titans host the Ravens. Who is more likely to have the most TD passes in this game? Ryan Tannehill, Lamar Jackson, or Derrick Henry? You're hearing Ricky Hollywood, and this is Game Day View, delivered by Pizza Hut. Here now, Cynthia, Greg, and Hawk.
That's right. Welcome to Game Day View, delivered by Pizza Hut. I am Andrew Hawkins, joined by the gang, Cynthia Freeland, Greg Rosenthal. It is Super Wildcard Sunday, and we cannot wait to get to discussion on the top games today. Cynthia, we're going to start with you here. I got a question for you. What stood out about yesterday's games to you that may change what you're thinking about today's games?
I mean, honestly, I think that watching Taylor Heinicke just go out there and have all of the heart possible kind of makes my heart be like, oh, maybe the Browns do have more of a chance, because you didn't think Taylor Heinicke was going to go out there and slang it like that. So maybe that will happen.
That's perfect. That's exactly the answer I was looking for. Greg, anything from you? It won't be topped, but you can try.
Just that Rams defense, who I was talking to, honking last show, like, offense wins in the playoffs. How about that Rams defense giving my daughter a happy Saturday?
There you go. All right, well, let's get to today's slate of games. We got the Ravens at the Titans. What I'm looking for in this one, as far as matchups, is I want to see what the Ravens run game does versus what the Titans run game does. I think whoever has the better day on the ground today is going to determine the winner. And this is a big deal because these are two of the better rushing offenses in the league. Obviously, Derrick Henry on one side and the Baltimore Ravens with J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, and Lamar Jackson specifically. Of all those people that I mentioned, he's the one I'm looking at because for him, when he gets his run game going, that actually helps him in the pass game. It makes it a little tough if he doesn't bust those big runs early and kind of get going. So that's what I'm taking a look at in this one. Cynthia, what do you got?
Teed me up just perfectly. I'm going to spike it down. I'm looking at how Lamar Jackson will build from that run game that you talked about. By the way, they're averaging over 7 yards per attempt outside the tackles. That's kind of where the speed guys go, right? Outside the tackles. That helps Lamar Jackson pass the ball down the field. And by the way, the Titans, they're bringing almost no heat. Lowest pressure rate in the NFL over the past 5 games. That is no bueno when you're looking at this multiple attack offense.
I love it. You guys just talking Lamar all day. I would love to too, but it's kind of like what I've seen this week. Everyone's all about the Ravens. I am too. But you got to respect this Titans team, especially when they're going deep down the field. Ryan Tannehill, to me, is one of the best, if not the best, play action. I don't mind if the pressure is going to be in my face. I'm going to go give my one-on-one receivers, Corey Davis and A.J. Brown, a chance to make plays down the field. The Ravens, they're good in the secondary, but any wide receiver, especially any wide receiver as big as A.J. Brown, is a good matchup in one-on-ones, and Tannehill will give him a chance. He did it in the playoffs last year. He did it with a 10-point comeback in the regular season this year, so do not count out Ryan Tannehill in this matchup.
All right, well, let's get the picks on this one. The Ravens are favored by 3. I'm going with the Ravens. I know everybody in sports media is talking about it, but there is such a revenge narrative for Lamar Jackson. I mean, it really soured his MVP season a year ago, and to a lot of people, publicly, it was kind of like, oh, okay, we might have spoke a little too soon. Well, Lamar Jackson has the opportunity to kind of right those wrongs and set his, career trajectory as far as the playoffs are concerned, back on the right path and getting his first playoff win, and I think the Ravens do that. Cynthia, what do you got?
Talk about revenge. I love the Vrabel, Harbaugh, potential rumble. I think we should monetize this. We could start, like a Twitch channel because Hawk can teach us how to do all of that. And they can it can be like the rage, the kind of, the skinnier guy with the rage and then like the experienced Vrabel. I don't know who would win. I truly don't. But in this game, I have a closer than expected 2-point win for the Ravens. 27-25 is my final score. Greg?
Yeah, the Ravens are favored by 3, and yet Cynthia and I are both trying to thread that small needle. She did a great job with it in the first game yesterday. She had the Bills winning, but not by too much. I've got the Ravens winning by 2 points. I mean, how could you lose coming into the game like this? Love the sunglasses, love the hat, love it all. That's Marlon Humphrey styling on the way into the stadium.
That's how you come to Nashville.
I just think it's time for Lamar to say, I'm the best player on the entire field. And I'm going to go ahead and win a playoff game and shut up all the haters. Let's go to New Orleans, my favorite city in this great country, where the Bears are playing the Saints. If the Bears have any chance to win today, and they're going to be without Roquan Smith and their two-lane receiver, Darnell Mooney, they're going to do it by stopping Drew Brees. I don't think Brees has looked that great over the last 3 weeks. Look, he's been efficient if you look at the numbers, but when you watch the passes like you're seeing right now, and you watch him holding on to the ball, he's not quite as decisive. Maybe that had to do with missing his receivers. Michael Thomas back will definitely help, but the Bears will make you earn it. They did when they took the Saints to overtime in the regular season, and I think if they could get an early interception against Brees or an early lead, maybe Brees possibly playing his last game, could be holding the ball a little too tight. That would give them a chance, Cynthia, don't you think?
Ooh, you possibly playing his last game. What are you doing here? I don't know which pick you're going to make. Are you going to change it from Friday? We'll see. The interesting part that I'm looking at in this one is the return of Michael Thomas. To me, how Thomas goes is how these playoffs will go. In other words, you already know how good Alvin Kamara is. Yes, he missed week 17, but in week 16, he handled 22 rushing attempts, which is ridiculous. And he's had 80 plus in all 4 career starts when he's had at least 19 attempts. So for me, if you can get this passing game going, you've already seen Emmanuel Sanders be super valuable, but to be a multiple passing threat along with Alvin Kamara, that will dictate just how high the ceiling is for the Saints. Hawk?
I'm looking at the Bears on the other side, and can Mitch Trubisky turn this one single game into $100 million? Because if my man balls out, he is going to get paid. He should get paid. The Bears will have no choice but to give him as many zeros as his agent asked for. It all comes down to this. Seriously, I mean, everyone has talked about Mitch, especially in Chicago, wanting to move on or, kind of letting this time for the Bears come to a close. But if he plays well and wins this game, how do you say no to a guy who's gone to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years and, beats one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history to advance in a playoff game?
This is my favorite Hawk. Right, exactly. This is my favorite hot take.
That check works.
Of the entire season. This is Hawk's 8th show of the week. I think he's just getting loopy, and they just is insane, increasingly crazy thing. Like, he skipped right past 10 million, 20 million, and went right to 100 million. I don't think it's going to happen. The Bears are underdogs in this game by 10 points. No respect. You know what? I think they'll keep it closer than that. I have the Saints winning 30-21, whether it's a late score by the Bears or they keep it close throughout. I think they're going to be respectable, but ultimately the Saints' offensive line and their running game is the reason why I think they're going to win. I think they're going to grind down this Bears defense into dust and eventually pull away and get another game for Drew Brees to play. I know Cynthia's on this corner too.
I'm on the corner of, I think you got all the numbers right. You just have to push the 1 over to the 30 and then take it away from there. So 31-20 is my final score. I think the Saints have a nice win. They're, in my estimation, and kind of tracking Sean Payton's tendencies before, I think they need to kind of get that going, get the momentum going. They haven't played all together, so I don't think they'll let their foot off the brake. While I do think the Bears' defense is their strength, and I think sometimes we forget how great some of their pass rushers are. Like, Akeem Hicks doesn't get enough love. I know Khalil Mack's like the guy we talk about, but Akeem Hicks is awesome. So at the end of the day, I just think that this will be where Sean Payton is like, okay, you want to see what I got? I just called 10 billion plays, and here are the 60 that I like for this game. What do you have, Pop?
Yeah, I think that too, and I just think the Saints team is too talented, especially with Michael Thomas back, Alvin Kamara playing. I think they're just going to be too much for the Chicago to overcome. And even if Mitch does have a great game, which I think he will, go get your money.
What do you
Mitch.
mean if? I thought you said he's making $100 million. What about if?
I did. I think he'll have a good game. I think he can still have a great game and lose at the same time and still get paid. Everybody wins. Cynthia, Let's talk proper performances.
Well, properly speaking, I want to talk about how Alvin Kamara is going to have more than 68 rushing yards. I told you that stat about in 4 career starts when he's had at least 19 touches, he's had over 80 rushing yards. I understand Michael Thomas is back and Emmanuel Sanders has emerged, but I still think 19 touches will be at least kind of the floor in this one. I think they're going to leverage that strong O-line and just keep it nice and solid and efficient. So for me, 68 rushing yards could be like a after 3 quarters type of situation. Agree? Disagree?
I like it.
All right, great. Which game's next?
All right, next up, we're talking Browns at Steelers, the game I'm sure we've all been waiting for, guys. What I'm looking at this one, I'm looking holistically at this Browns team. I'm hoping that they are going into this game understanding that they have to break that big brother mentality that the Steelers have over top of them. It's actually off the field, but I think it's the thing that could be the catalyst for them getting the W. They have the talent. Even with the players that they have out, they still match up well against the Browns, and they don't have a head coach. Yes, we know, and the play calling will be a big deal, but if they can come out and get their best game, if we get the best out of Myles Garrett, the best out of Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb does what Nick Chubb always does, Denzel Ward doing everything he can to lock up those Steelers receivers who have been lights out the last couple of weeks and for the majority of the season, I think they really do have a real chance, Cynthia.
I think the interesting part when I look at this game and kind of map out everything that's going on is an underrated low-key factor of, and not for us low-key because we obviously know it, and Hawk, you know it firsthand, Joel Bitonio. If you look to see what happens at the guard position when that guy isn't there, it just doesn't have the same zip, the push for that O-line, the opportunity to create those yards before contact. So keeping Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, out of harm's way before they make contact with the defense. And then in the pass game, if you look to see how well the Steelers defense, which is a #1 pressure rate in the National Football League, how well they do, like it is a big deal to be missing someone of Joel Bitonio's category, caliber, and production. So for me, that really shifted kind of the odds in this one quite a bit. Greg?
Yeah, it's a big loss. They still have 4 of their 5 offensive linemen, and it's one of the best offensive lines in the league. I think they can protect Baker Mayfield, but Baker's got to help them out by making decisions quickly. You're watching him get sacked last week when Highsmith won a couple battles against Jedrick Willis, but the sacks that Baker took were more about him not processing, making quick decisions. He threw the ball great against Pittsburgh. I think he's throwing it really well, but he's got to take a lesson from old Tom Brady last night. It's tough to compare him to the GOAT, but man, that guy goes through about 5 reads in about 2.5 seconds. And if Baker can make quick decisions, know when to run, know when to throw it away, I think they'll have a pretty good chance.
All right, well, it's time for Who You Got delivered by Pizza Hut. All right, and this may come as a surprise to some people, but I got the Cleveland Browns pulling it out, man. I'm sure everyone's shocked. You know my Sunday ritual, shocking the world, Cynthia, and here we are. Yeah, I'm going with the Browns. I genuinely think that they have a good shot of winning this football game. I think that the mentality with the team is as best as it possibly can be. And, yes, no head coach. That is a big deal. But it will take the big 6 in Cleveland, which is, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and Joel Bitonio, who's done his part. He wrote an incredible letter this week to the team and spoke to them, multiple times via Zoom, getting them motivated, getting them in the right mindset to go out there and try to shock the world, Cynthia.
I love it, and it's really hard to follow you after saying that because my heart, I'm not from anywhere near there, right? I'm a struggling Lions fan, we know this, but my heart kind of wants the Browns to win this one. I mean, the math absolutely doesn't support that. I have 26-18 in this one, an 8-point win, because without your head coach, that means more running reliance, and more running reliance without your guard is not quite as great of a value proposition. But my heart is like, I love the narrative. I love great, but this is why we do math and we do heart. And the reality is somewhere in between. What do you have, Greg?
I don't know. That didn't quite convince me, Cynthia. I mean, you want your model to be right ultimately. Yes. I'm rooting for the Browns too, but I am picking the Steelers, so it's like I won't mind if I get 2 games up on Hawk in the playoffs. The records start over, by the way, in the playoffs. I'm 3-0. I'm 1 up on y'all. I have the Steelers.
Nobody told me that.
Yeah, it starts over. I say so. This is a game in which I think the Browns can keep it really close. But you mentioned the wide receivers for the Steelers. I think that's where the mismatches are. I think the Steelers wideouts after the catch can make enough plays. It should be a great game on Sunday night. But I have the Steelers winning. That was Who you got? Delivered by Pizza Hut. We are going to take a break. Ooh, this Ravens-Titans game to me is the game of the weekend. I can't wait.
J.K. Dobbins, he's ready. He looks like a vet out there. He's
look at his feet.
Veteran-like.
All right, Super Wild Card Sunday. There goes Dez Bryant getting ready to take on the Titans and throw up the X.
It was a catch.
He's looking good.
Man, it'd be awesome if he makes a big-time play in the playoffs in the year 2021. Wouldn't have thought I could ever see it.
I know. I feel the same way. Little Coach Andy Bischoff there. Cynthia, what we got next?
Oh, you know what time it is? It's time for Gaining Greatness, presented by Sleep Number. Here we go. The first one. Derrick Henry is going to have fewer than 120 rush yards. Now, this isn't to say that it's not going to be a good game for him, but he only averages just over 102 against top 15 defenses, and the Ravens happen to be number 8. Agree or disagree?
Ooh, I'm with you. That helps set me up for something we're going to talk about a little bit later. I checked it out, actually, Cynthia. He went under 120 yards in 10 of 16 games. So it's not a crazy thing. I know he seems superhuman. But he's not superhuman. He's a man.
All right.
Nice.
All right, I got one for you, Hawk. You ready? Michael Thomas in his return. He's going to have more than 80 receiving yards. It seems like a high number, but I'm telling you, I think that the plan is to kind of get the rhythm back. So getting the rhythm back means lots of targets. Do you think yes, no, maybe so? Which one?
Oh, I'm torn on this. I'm going to go with no, and I did not check it out like Greg did. This is just completely off the top of the dome. But he's been hurt this year. I have a tough time expecting the same Michael Thomas that we're used to seeing.
All right. Next up, Greg. Nick Chubb is going to have more than 82 rushing yards. I told you that I'm concerned about Joel Bitonio not playing. However, I think they're going to need to run the ball a lot more with Kevin Stefanski not there. So I think the opportunity is uptick in run, stay away from the pressure, reduce the odds of Baker Mayfield throwing a pick. What do you think? Yes or no? More than 82 rush yards.
I'm all about it, especially because they need it. I feel like every time the Browns are on national TV, people say like, oh, this is Nick Chubb's coming out party. People don't know, but it's kind of true. You know, they're in the playoffs. I don't think people know this is a top 5 running back. It'd be awesome for him to have a huge game against Pittsburgh. They need it if they're going to win.
I love it. Okay, last but not least, Hawk. Do you have a weighted blanket, first of all? And second of all, Deontay Johnson's going to have more than 66 receiving yards. This is kind of like a weighted blanket in a Sleep Number bed. It's like the perfect cocoon of like happiness and going to happen. Agree? Disagree?
I agree, and my daughters have weighted blankets. I think Deontay Johnson does have a big game. I think the Steelers receivers in general have a big game, and Denzel Ward, he can only take one of them away at a time, and, DJ is their big play guy.
I love it. Okay, that was Gaining Greatness, presented by Sleep Number. Ricky?
Play NFL Pick'em Party, the new free-to-play game presented by Caesars Rewards. Answer 15 questions about this weekend's games to win exclusive prizes, including a VIP package to next year's Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles. Visit NFL.com/pickparty to learn more.
Foam fingers. Foam fingers. Mine are struggling. I'm on the struggle bus putting them on. Foam fingers, foam fingers. You got it? Hello? Are we there? Okay.
Got him.
Good. You guys are over there. That's where my monitor is, so I can't really see you when I'm looking here. All right. First game. More or less than 55 points when the Ravens and the Titans face off in a rematch. More or less.
This is one of my favorite ones. I told y'all about Titans more than 70 last week. We got it to 79. I don't think this game's that different. I think it could be in the 60s, maybe even the 70s. I love more.
I think that's
I'm going big
game.
offensive game in this one. Sombrero game? I wasn't expecting a sombrero game on Wild Card Sunday.
All right, next up. Bears at Saints. More or less than 47 points. Bears at Saints. 47.
Oh, this is tough because it goes against my Mitch Trubisky making $100 million. But I'm going to say less. I'm going to say low-scoring game in this one.
Just Mitch is super efficient.
Yeah, super efficient. That's what he does. Short
Indoors. No weather. Some defensive score. I could see some defensive scores from both of these teams, too, putting it over 50.
I like the idea of Mitch just scoring like 24 points and then nothing else happening. And we'll all be like, okay, that was $100 million presented by Hawk. All right, last game, Browns at Steelers. More or less than 47 points. More or less than 47 points. Browns at Steelers. You guys, what is going on?
More.
I've been Team Moore all year. And you know what, Cynthia? You said it would eventually cost me. For the most part, it's been all about the Moore this year. It's an offensive league, an offensive year.
Yeah, but it's all about what the line is,
I'm gonna need
right?
the Browns.
So like, what are you trying to add up to, or what are you trying to not add up to, right? That's adjusted too.
I see. You're rooting against the Browns. You know the Browns are great offense. You don't really love Hawk, do you? You're rooting
Bring
against
your heart
the Browns.
to more or less, Cynthia.
Greg.
Well, let's take a break, shall we? Taking a look at A.J. Brown, the man, the most physical wide receiver in football. You going to put Marcus Peters on this guy? Good luck. He's like me running out there trying to cover A.J. Brown.
Ryan Tannehill looking to double up on Lamar Jackson. If Ryan Tannehill beats Lamar Jackson, man, there's going to be some needed conversations to happen about my man. He's been balling, but even still, I don't feel like people put him in the the top 10 category yet.
Corey
I'm putting
Davis
him in
is
the
a good
top
daily
10.
pick.
I like that. Corey Davis, good for a top daily. All right, it's time for some bold predictions here for this super wild card Sunday. Cynthia, we will talk with you first. What do you got?
Well, first, next season, we're not going to interrupt each other as much because there won't be a delay. That's my first bold. My second one is that James Conner will actually have more rushing yards than Nick Chubb in this matchup. I think the Steelers really need to get James Conner going. Yeah, spicy. That was pretty bold. It's not because I don't think Nick Chubb's going to be good. I already told you I think he's going to have a good day, but I think James Conner really needs to be more involved and work himself in because that's been an area where they've really not done well. So in order for those receivers to work and that offense to stay multidimensional, they need to get that run game going.
You can say whatever you want about your
that.
heart. Your model is a Browns hater right now. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Not true.
The model is definitely from Western Pennsylvania. Great. What do you got?
I am going to go a similar route. Hawk gave me this idea. It's okay. It's not cheating. You can, work on homework with your friends. J.K. Dobbins will have more rushing yards than Derrick Henry. I really believe this. I think the Ravens' rushing attack is rolling right now, especially if they can get a lead. And you know what? Dobbins is as much a big play threat as Henry. If he gets in the open field, you're not gonna stop him. He's like a Emmitt Smith type of guy, man. He's just got such a great feel, but he's also got that explosive speed. Let's go, J.K. Dobbins.
I don't know if I like it until Cynthia tells me if she likes it. Cynthia, what do you got?
I like it.
Okay.
Because I like Greg.
Yeah, go J.K. I think J.K. has a huge game, Greg. What are you talking about? All right, so here's mine. Mine is Mitch Trubisky will throw for more than 300 yards passing, okay, which will equate to $100 million. I want to say he's projected to throw for like 242. Maybe he gets them at the end of the game where he's trying to make a comeback. I think he goes for over 300, but I also think the Saints win. So I'm kind of like Cynthia's heart and her model, except in just one person in one mind.
I love it.
All right.
That would be
I think that does it for us.
$333,333 per yard, just so you know.
Good math there. I love it.
That's incredible math. That's why we love you. All right, that does it. Enjoy today's games, Super Wild Card Sunday. We will see you on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on the NFL Network. Peace.